Today, I have the honor of introducing the president of State College of Florida. Tommy Gregory was born in Tampa, went to the U.S. Air Force Academy. I hope I do justice for you. You know, everybody already knows this information, I think. Served in our Air Force for 20 years, was Lieutenant Colonel and Judge Advocate General, prosecutor, then moved to Sarasota and practiced law after those 20 years. Mr. Gregory served us in the Florida House of Representatives back in 2018, was reelected in 20 and 22, and in 2024, after a national search, he became president of the State College of Florida. I'd like to, and we know Carol Probsfeld held that position since 2012 and a club member. It's my honor to introduce the 7th president of the State College of Florida, Manatee, Sarasota, Mr. Tommy Gregory. Hey.
Thank you, Mike. Let me first say thank you to the students. I don't know if they went to the back or they had to take off already. But just so you know their names, they might have gone to the back and grabbed lunch. Albert Molina, Jacob Rodriguez, Rachel D. It's a long last name. We'll call her Rachel D. And Samir Hamid. Those 4 students, I think, did a wonderful job. And, you know, I think everybody should travel with the string quartet. I think that's the standard now. You know, this is really an interesting time to be in higher education for all sorts of reasons that you see in the news. But let me start by saying I get asked this question a lot. Why did you want that job? Why did you want to serve as president? Why would you leave political office? And really, you know, walking in here today when the supervisor of elections handed me a letter written to Representative Gregory from the Calhoun Correctional Institution in Blountstown, Florida. That tells me all I needed to know about why I would do that. It was written to me in my capacity as a representative and chairman of the judiciary. And I've received many of those letters when I was in that role. And I will tell you, it won't surprise you to know that those letters are usually going to be either heartbreaking or stomach turning. But it requires, you know, great jurists. Like we have a couple of judges in this room that do great work for us. I won't call them out by name, but I see one in the back of the room and one in the front, and they do great service for the entire community in Manatee County and beyond, upholding the rule of law. That's not why I left, though. That was a thrill to be part of the legal community and a thrill to represent you in the Florida legislature. The reason that I raised my hand for this job and the reason that I'm thrilled to serve is because, quite simply, I love people. I really do. I just love people and I love to help them. And I think there's no better place to talk about helping people than Kiwanis. You know, and at the beginning you did, as the good book instructs us, in the beginning, God. To open with a prayer is so motivational, and it reminds us that we as all humans and those people that we interact with on a daily basis, those we love and those that drive us crazy, right? Most of the people in this room believe that all of them, at the end of the day, are immortal beings. And it reminds us that we should be there to help them. And it's much the same at the State College of Florida. Many of you in this room could tell me more about the history of the State College of Florida and everything that we've done in Bradenton and Manatee County and Sarasota County than I could. But each of you that knows the college knows that we do this. And that is that we serve 10,000 degree-seeking students every year. What you may not know is that we serve another 10,000 non-degree seeking students of all ages that are there to come back and work on a new degree and pursue a new way of life, or finish a degree that they got started and then got sidetracked on because of life. You know, having the string quartet here gives me an opportunity to talk about music, and I was so happy to be sitting next to another new member here who told me that his daughter was a graduate of the State College of Florida. And she, not just from the college, but from the music program in particular. And he said that the music theory instruction that she received there prepared her so well that she tested out of it when she got to the 4-year university level. Then she was able to concentrate on the performance of the music and how she was going to use that in service of her career and in service of the community. Not a surprise that somebody with that type of motivation now serves in music therapy, helping patients and families and hospice and those that are suffering through those losses and those challenges deal with that. So it was a pleasure to meet you, and it's thrilling as the college president to hear the stories of the impact of our students. And as I said, I just love helping people achieve their dreams. I like that, I started off saying that this is an interesting time to serve in higher education, and all of you have seen the news over the last few years. You've seen that the bright, hot light of Sauron is shining on higher education. Oh, I'm glad somebody got that Lord of the Rings reference. Eventually that light turns, right? That's the good news. Eventually that light turns, and sometimes being under the microscope is good, right? It's like when your parents come to clean your room or inspect your room, that's when you clean your room, right? When your boss is going to inspect the files, that's when you make sure all the files are in order. And sometimes that spotlight is bad. But I try to focus on the good at the State College of Florida and how that spotlight can help us. And I love that the first thing that I learned really after getting there is that there's a lot I don't know about the college, starting with what the actual college seal of the Office of the President looked like. And I was thrilled to read about the history of college, having been founded in 1957. And I was thrilled that the college seal of the President's office is a defender shield. It's not the traditional lamp of knowledge, although the lamp of knowledge is on that shield, but it is a shield representing the words on the shield, the words being veritas libertas, truth and liberty, right? That education is at its core the defender of truth and liberty. And I think everybody in this room knows that, and how important it is that we remain a community and a country that's focused on the education of the youth, that they truly are the most important thing that we can focus on to ensure that our community goes forth and prospers here locally and around the country, and that we continue to defend our Republican, not Republican in the partisan sense, our republic, right, our great country. As I said, it was 1957. And now, I don't want to bore you. How many of you have heard me tell the story politically of how this college came to be in Manatee County? Only a couple of you. All right, good. Then I'll bore you, Frank. I don't mind boring you. He's an Army guy. He didn't listen the first time anyway. Sorry, Frank. I have the mic. I couldn't resist. I think it's an interesting story, and it really tells the story of visionary leaders from the 1950s in the state of Florida. And the state of Florida was the first state in the entire country to do this. They said, what we should do is create a community college system and place campuses all around the state, geographically locate them so that 99% of the people that live in the state of Florida are within commuting distance of their college. That will generate an economic engine and create an economic boom. And for good and bad, that's exactly what it did, right? You think back to the population of Florida in the 1950s, what were we, 3-4 million? Now we're 22 million plus. We have certainly seen an economic boom here. And what they did is say, well, in Manatee County or Sarasota County at the time, you could commute from the northern tip of Manatee to southern Sarasota in less than an hour. Can you believe that? Not true anymore. You only needed one. You only needed one college. You could put it anywhere in either of those two counties. It just so happened that the majority of the delegation, and this was a state decision, not a local decision, the state legislature got to decide. Most of the representatives at that time from Manatee County were registered Democrats. Most of the legislative delegation from Sarasota County at the time were registered Republicans. But what was the legislature of Florida in the 1950s? Democrat, like 98% Democrat. So guess who got the state college? Manatee County. Politics and the spotlight from politics on higher education has always been there. And it worked to your advantage here in Bradenton and Manatee County all those years ago. And to add a little insult to injury, by the way, the State College of Florida originally was, of course, named after Manatee County. Sarasota County wasn't even in the name. But to make it even worse, if you lived in Sarasota County, they charged you an out-of-county tax. Can you imagine? You want to call your brothers and sisters in the Kiwanis Club of Sarasota and tell them you're going to charge them a tax to come here? Luckily, they corrected that short-term rule and opened their second campus in southern Sarasota County in the Venice area within about 20 years. And then we opened our third campus in Lakewood Ranch. And by the end of this year, important for all of you to know, we will open our fourth campus. Well, we will break ground on the fourth campus in East Manatee County and Parish. So just so you have a full understanding, the Bradenton campus is about 100 acres. The Venice campus is about 85 acres. Lakewood Ranch is a small campus that specializes in nursing and higher education. And the Parish campus is, again, going to be about 85 acres. So these are large campuses. We'll go from serving 20,000 students a year now to, I'm not sure what number, but if you've been out to Parish lately, how many of you live in Parish? Anybody? Okay, we got a couple of you. It's booming. You don't need me to tell you that. You know it's booming. So we're going to where the need is, and it's all part of that visionary founding of the entire system from the 1950s. Because you can't drive from north to south between these two counties in an hour anymore. So now we have students and potential students in Parish that are either not going to college because they don't have time. You know, our typical student, frankly, is working. They're either working part-time or full-time and taking classes. They don't have time to do that in Parish where they live and then drive down to Bradenton or over to Lakewood Ranch. We got to go to them. And again, that is part of the vision that we've had from the beginning. I think it's also important to note that from the beginning, the State College of Florida has been focused on an affordable option for students. And you know, we're not selling, you know, books or products in a marketplace here. We're selling higher education, and we're still at the same level. You take English 1101 at the State College of Florida, that's English 1101 credit at the University of Florida or Florida State or any other state university by law. They have to take the credit, and by law, we have to make sure that our class matches theirs. So it's the same standard, and the tuition is 50%. So I have one big ask here today, and this is a prime moment to talk about it. My one big ask is that you just help us spread the word. I gave you this fast facts on your table. If you didn't get one and you want one, I'm happy to give it to you. I don't need you to memorize it. I don't need you to know the contents of it or anything. But if at some point you just flip it open and you'll see, for example, all the bachelor's degrees and associate in science degrees, my ask is that you just put this in your purse or in your coat pocket or somewhere. You're going to run across somebody. It's going to be your child. It's going to be your niece, your nephew, your grandchild, your neighbor's kid. Sooner or later, you're going to meet somebody who's not taking classes, not pursuing higher education. And you don't need to know the name of all the 90 different types of degrees and programs and certificates we have. You just need to know that in this book and at our college, we have something that person will be interested in. And if you just give them this or tell them to go to our website and look it up, you'll do us a favor, of course, increasing our enrollment, but much more importantly, one more student for us is not going to change the trajectory of the college. But do you know, as soon as you enroll in college, you just have to enroll. Your projected lifetime earnings increase by $1 million. That's it, as soon as you enroll. And again, because we're an affordable option, we're not asking kids to sign up and take on a lot of debt. This is a very affordable option. We haven't raised tuition and going on 15 years now, and I'll see that happening in the foreseeable future. That's only possible, by the way, let me give credit to where it belongs. The state of Florida, and of course a lot of it through lottery and all kinds of different revenue streams, the state of Florida pays 70% of our cost. And that's true of the entire college system and the university system. You know, if you go to a university in Florida and you're paying $7,000, $8,000 a year in tuition, the actual cost is about $35,000. The state of Florida pays the rest. And it's the same thing here at the State College of Florida. You come and you're taking classes, you're enrolled a full year, and you pay less than $4,000. Yeah, well, the cost is 6 or 7 times that much. It's just that you're not paying it. The state of Florida is investing in your education by the dollars that they give to us every year because they know that we're the economic engine. The last thing I'll say, if you don't know, and as I said at the beginning, many of you know the State College of Florida's history just as well, if not better than I do, but I've been amazed to learn all the different programs we have there. It's not just an associate in arts degree, although that's 75% of what we do. We prepare people to go get a 4-year degree. And it's not just the associate in science degrees, you know, in radiography and dental hygiene, OTA, PTA, nursing, all these health sciences programs we have. It's not just that either. We are a full spectrum, full experience college. You go there and get a music degree and not just get the degree, but perform in live performances like this and at our, you know, wonderful Neal Performing Arts Center or our theater production or one of our sports programs, whether that's softball or baseball or volleyball. And I'll leave you just with one little point of pride from baseball, for example. 47 out of the last 50 years, one of our players has gone on to play in the majors. Right here, right out of Bradenton. That's the only place we have baseball. We don't have it at our other campuses. So right down the street here, you could go watch for free some future Major League Baseball player playing while they're young and seeing, you know, the talent that they have right now. And the same thing for our music program and our theater program. Those aren't free, but they are very affordable. So with that, I just want to say that I'm thrilled to be there. I love the college. I love helping people achieve their dreams. And let me see what questions any of you might have. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in the brochure it says it's got 2 rates for tuition. It says associates and bachelor's. Are there bachelor degree programs at State College of Florida?
There sure are. Yeah. Right, that's news for most people because most people, they think of a community college, they think of the AA. But we have 4-year degrees in education and nursing.
Is that relative? I knew about the nursing, but is that relatively new? The other programs?
It's, you know, it's within the last 10 years or so, but it's still spreading the news. Like I said, that's part of the challenge. Just by having this Fast Facts book, and you can see some of the other 4-year degrees that are listed there. And by the way, our first class that, you know, came in 1959, founded in 57, first class came in 59. That first class had 3 graduates. We've had nursing from the beginning, by the way. That's not new for us. Nursing is always, the 4-year degree is relatively new, but nursing's from the beginning. There are now 62,000 graduates of this college. 26,000 of them we know. I'm sure there's more, but 26,000 we know of from our data collection still live and work in this area. So it really is the economic engine. Frank.
Yes, sir. So 2 of those 26,000 live at my home. Both of my boys, but I will, just as a commendation, and also if you'd like to expound on this, my son graduated from the nursing program, and they did not, was last year the youngest RN hired in the transplant ward at Tampa General. After he interviewed in SCF's background, they did not let him leave without making an offer, and there were 30 people that were interviewing for that position. So,
yeah.
But one of the things that you had talked about, the alternative, a lot of folks don't know, as Florida's gotten so big, and there's only a certain number of state universities, University of Florida, FSU, they're tough to get into. One of the things that a lot of people don't know about spreading the word is if your child goes to SCF and gets an AA degree, taking all these prerequisites that line up with the 4-year universities, if they have a 3.0 or better, they're guaranteed to get into a state university. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct, and I'm glad that you're bragging about the nursing program in particular. You got a nursing professional 2 seats to your left here, in Carol Whitmore, and she knows because she's on the foundation. That reputation is real. Those students aren't looking for jobs. Those students are getting offers while they're still taking classes from multiple hospitals. We have great partners in the community, in Sarasota and Manatee, but they're getting offers from our neighboring counties as well. And that credit goes to a lot of faculty, but I'll give primarily the shout out to Dr. Sawmell. If you don't know Dr. Tammy Sawmell, she is an all-star there, and her entire nursing faculty are doing great work. Carol, I know you had a question, and then I'll come to you next, sir.
First of all, I am on the foundation. If anybody would like to contribute to a State College of Florida foundation, feel free. That's not my, can you tell everybody here if you know approximately the graduation rate of nursing? Our state board, passing the state boards the first time.
Oh, I can't. I think I love Carol. She both asked you for money and gave me a softball question. I love that question. The nurses have to take a national licensing exam. And it is a difficult exam, and the pass rate in the state of Florida hovers around 70%, which is not great. But we have hundreds of nurses in our nursing program between the 4 years that they're attending. Our passage rate hovers between 99 and 100%. Yeah. So that's why I say they're in high demand. They're getting jobs. And back to Frank, by the way, I had two SCF grads in my home too just a few years ago who they weren't in the nursing program. They were both on the AA track, but it made it very easy for them. It was, when they were applying to Florida universities primarily, and all of them said what the universities still tell me now that I'm in this role. They're like, look, if you graduate from SCF, it's a gold standard. You're getting in. You want to go to a new college, you want to go to USF, UCF, FSU, UF, you're getting in. It's just a question of what are you going to study and how much is your scholarship going to be? Yes, sir.
Dr. Gregory, I've had the good fortune of being born early enough and living long enough that I've had the privilege of personally knowing each and every president of the college, starting with Dr. B.
Wow.
And I do know that they all had at least one thing in common, and that is they were all members of this club. To continue that tradition.
Oh, thank you, David. Well, I probably broke a rule by not wearing my badge, but I do have a new member badge right there on my table. There it is. Thank you. And I am following in the footsteps of some real giants, Neil and Korchek and Pappas and Dr. P. I'll just say this publicly about Dr. P. She's not a person that would seek the spotlight, and so she would hate it if she were here, she would be horrified that I was going to do this. But I'll just say, this is an institution, talk about another reason that I want to raise my hand and serve here, to follow Dr. P and her leadership. This is not the organization where you step in, you go, man, that thing's a wreck. I got to clean that up. I got to change everything on day one. I stepped into this institution and made no changes. Cassandra was the president, CEO of the foundation. She remains president, executive director, leader of that organization. Susan, my right-hand person at the college, no change. The cabinet, no change. Dr. P was a great leader. She was an expert in finance. We have financial challenges, but those are political challenges. They're funding challenges that we have to overcome. I'll just tell you what she has done. She has done more with less. In her time as the president, she was very successful, expanding and raising money for parish, and hiring great people and leading this college. And she did all of that with $17 million a year less than any of our peers. So That's a problem, and knock on some wood. That is my mission, to change that. Imagine what we will be able to do with equitable funding. I mean, we have the same number of students, same number of faculty, same number of graduations, same graduation rates. By any metric, we are the same. We just don't have as much funding, and we're going to work on that. Yes, ma'am.
How many out-of-state kids do you pull in? Like in the surrounding states? Do you focus on that? Is the tuition different?
It's an excellent question. The tuition is different. We don't charge out-of-county tax. We do charge an out-of-state tuition difference, but it's still very affordable compared to, universities or other colleges that they may attend either at home or abroad. We do have students. I can't tell you from how many states or the percentage of the student body. Cassandra, do you know that number off the top of your head?
It's going to be less than like 5%.
Okay.
Yeah, but
We're not actively recruiting outside of the state of Florida.
Right.
Just because a lot of our students have transportations and geographical limitations.
Okay, I was just curious.
yeah, so we do naturally draw. I mean, it's no surprise people want to come to Florida, right? College age, 18 to 22-year-olds, they want to come to Florida and take classes here. So we don't have difficulty recruiting, but we really view our mission as we are the local workforce engine. As a team, your State College of Florida and your STC and your MTC, we want to serve all the people here, but we do capture, and I think that is about right, about 5% national out-of-state students. We also have students, right now, we have students from 28 foreign countries. So there are foreign students coming here, taking classes full-time or part-time at the State College of Florida. And they are thrilled to be here and pursuing their education and pursuing the American dream. In the back, yes, ma'am.
One question, possible subparts.
Speaking of excellent lawyers,
In your background as being a lawyer and a statesman, how did you find the transition into college president, and how did your skills in those prior careers help you in what you're doing?
oh, great question. Well, how did my background help me for the job? My background from the legislature taught me how the state appropriations process works. And again, 70% of our dollars come from the state. So I know where the money is. I know how to go ask for it, and I'm going to use that skill and that background. But I would say the thing that prepared me the most for this position would be a combination of my law degree and my military training and experience, starting with undergrad, the military academies. I'll brag on them for a moment just to say, I mean, they literally just beat the core values into you. And I mean that in a very positive way. And for the Air Force, our core values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And I got to the State College of Florida, and I looked at the values and immediately recognized their core values: integrity, teamwork, excellence, service. Right? It is almost identical. And when you're part of a large organization, and there's a lot of business leaders in this room, and you know that it's your culture and your values and how you behave as a leader or a statesman or a president or executive director or mid-level manager, your people respond to that. So I think setting those high standards and setting those core values, all that training I had for 24 years in uniform total, prepared me well to do this job. And then, of course, your legal training, much like any other higher education degree, prepares you for a variety of things. Not necessarily just, you're not limited, especially I'll just speak to what I know. This is not a criticism of any other degree, but a law degree, as you know, just teaches you how to think. And the fundamental lesson, if you were to sum up law school in sort of one acronym, I'm a military guy, I like to do that. If I had to sum it up in one acronym, I would say, it might surprise you, the acronym would be Iraq. Now, if you're a lawyer, that doesn't surprise you at all, because the acronym stands for, what's the issue? What's the rule? How do I analyze it? And what's the conclusion? Issue, rule, analysis, conclusion. And it's the same thing as the leader at the State College of Florida. What's the issue? Oh, the issue's tuition, the issue's funding. What's the rule? Let's do an analysis. Let's make a decision and conclude. Yes, sir.
What's the relationship with State College and Florida and Manatee Technical College? What's that relationship?
That's a great question. The relationship between SCF and the technical colleges is very strong. We have talented leaders. I'll speak directly to MTC. Doug Wagner, he's a talented leader. They're doing great work at MTC. Our relationship starts with our membership on their board. So the person who right now is provost of the State College of Florida in charge of all of academic affairs is a board member at MTC. So we want to make sure that our programs are in alignment. We're not trying to compete with each other. Every once in a while, you're going to see they offer some variation of nursing, for example, and we offer maybe the same, similar, or different variation of nursing. That's really more a function of the demand of the local area. It's not an indication of a relationship that is struggling. It's really a strong relationship. I got a lot of respect for what they do. I will say that Florida is unique in that in most other states, like 75% or greater of the other states, all the technical colleges fall under the community college. So it is just one big entity. I do not, want to see that happen. I'm not advocating for that to happen. I think MTC is doing great. I got 1,000 employees that I'm juggling right now and not looking to expand. I just share that as sort of a interesting point that other states do it differently, but it is working well in Manatee County and Sarasota County, and I don't see any reason to change. And Doug Wagner and I are working together on many things to make sure that we're not overlapping and we're offering good services in total. Good question. Anybody else? Oh, sir.
Yes, sir. Carol may have thrown you a softball. Let me throw you one inside pitch. There's a lot of discussion right now about the legislature considering merging State College of Florida and New College. Any thoughts on that?
Well, great question. You're right. A little bit of an inside pitch. The merge, of course, discussion is USF and New College. And do I have any thoughts as State College of Florida? I had lots of thoughts on the subject. I'll be very candid, and I know I'm being recorded, but that's okay. I'll be very candid. In my time in the legislature, I was approached, so going back 6-7 years ago, we were approached every year because New College at the time was very inefficient. If you just looked at the amount of money that we spent per pupil to get a degree there compared to University of Florida, for example. Well, that makes sense. In New College, less than 1,000 kids, and University of Florida, 30, 40, 50,000 kids. It's an economy of scale. The other criticism at the time was that they had embraced an entirely far-leaning ideology, right? At the time, it was, a far left-leaning ideology, and there was criticism that they were not open to real civic debate and all viewpoints. I will tell you, when I first heard that, candidly, I thought, well, I went to a military university where we were taught to kill people and break things, so, and the government funded all of that, so maybe it's okay for the government to fund all kinds of different points of view. But then I toured the campus at New College and went to a graduation, and I'll just say in short that there was a lot of room for improvement from my perspective. But I am open to, we want the diversity of viewpoint. We want a space for free and open debate, especially academically, as people are figuring out what they know and don't know and what they believe or don't believe. But I fast forward to today where I am, and it is my belief that it would be more efficient to have some combination, whether that's New College taking the lead or USF taking the lead. I'm not sure we are the most efficiently positioned right now to have two universities literally from here to the camera apart from each other. And if you just think about it as you drive down 41, you'll know that probably doesn't make sense. It can make sense when you compare SCF to MTC. But when you compare a university to a university, I think it's harder to justify. So I guess at the end of the day, I'm in favor of us evaluating that and coming to a logical decision. Was there another question at that table?
I was just going to ask how you think you compare with the other agents, other institutions of your type and size in the state.
I will say, and I see he's up here to pull me off stage after this, but first I'll tell you what my goal is. My goal is that we are going to be number one. And when I say we're going to be number one, I don't just mean in general, we're going to brag about being number one. I mean, we want to be number one in graduation rate. We want to be number one in retention and persistence. We want to be number one in how fast our students graduate. I want to get them in, and keep them focused, and get them graduated. We are right now in the, right about the third, 30%. If you were to rack and stack all 28 of us, we're probably going to be ranked number 9, number 10 maybe, in our graduation rate and enrollment rate and that kind of thing. I want it to be number one. We can achieve that. If we focus on those goals, we can be number one. We are number one in a number of programs. We're number one in the state in music. We were number one in the state for a long time in baseball. A proud heritage of baseball there, and we want to recover that number one ranking. I think we're probably number one in theater and production. We're always in the top 3 in nursing. We are, by a lot of standards, we're number 1 or top 3. But where I want to get there, because it impacts the greatest number of students, is I want to take our graduation rate and take it to the highest in the state. Because if we do that, then all those students in Manatee County and Sarasota County, all the differences we will make in their lives and in their families' lives. And I'll close with that. If you have not been to a graduation, please come to a graduation. You want to have your faith and humanity restored? Just just go to our website, find out when a graduation is going to be there. You don't have to know anybody graduating, just go. And see those. It's about an hour long. This isn't a 4-hour program. Go there for 1 hour of your time and see the look on the families' faces of those students when they leave the Neal Performing Arts Center. Most of them, again, have been working part-time or full-time, or they're single parents, or they are the first, likely, the first person in their family to ever attend college. That will restore your faith in humanity if it's struggling at all. At a minimum, I guarantee you it will bring a smile to your face. Thank you for letting me speak today and bring the quartet with me. I greatly enjoyed it.
Thank you, President Gregory. As a Kiwanis tradition, you may be aware that we like to present this golden ruler to measure the future success of State College of Florida. And whether you put it this way and measure how we are on fundraising maybe, or how we are, we can't get any better in nursing, right? We've already got that. But to measure the future success, congratulations.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, sir. Great presentation. You could have had all afternoon, by the way. We gladly listened to you. There is a board meeting for Bradenton and Kiwanis right here in Kiwanis Hall tomorrow starting at noon. We're going to have something other than pizza. On next week, we will have Rich Fitzgerald with Southwest Pennsylvania Commission. Some interesting comments next week. Please plan to attend. And the week after that, listen everybody very closely, at least everybody in this room, April 1st, we're not going to be here. We're going to be at the new Marriott Palmetto up there. So we're having a remote meeting over there. And no, this is not an April Fool's joke, all right? It is. It could be. That's a good question. No, that's not April Fool's joke. This is real. But anyway, next week here, and then the week after, okay? So next week, still come here. I appreciate y'all being here today. Let's go out and get some great things happening this week, all right? Meeting adjourned.